Hello, welcome to Leeds. We are in Boom.
Sure are.
Yeah. And you guys are playing shortly. And yeah, I think you are. I checked the schedule.
Yeah, we are in next.
6.
After these guys, yes.
About 7 minutes.
And that'll be about how many songs?
19.
19.
Get it done.
And actually, that's something I noticed. I saw you playing at the Manchester Punk Festival. And I'd heard you all throughout the lockdown period. First time I was able to actually see you guys. You struck me. When I saw you...
Physically.
Almost!
Telling people that, like, it was really famous. Like.
No, because when I saw you, I'm like, oh, he reminds me of the guys from New York City in the 80s when I was living there.
Old.
No. Yeah, a thug. That's a polite way to put it. And then I saw you out on stage, and you're just like this cuddly teddy bear in a way.
The only that's not the first time I've had that. First time I played Bristol, I got called a big crusty teddy bear, which I didn't really know how to take. If I'm honest,
on the
crusty.
yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, soft as shit, really. But yeah, we want to be entertained. That's all it is. If you want to go and watch somebody, be entertained. I can't stand watching people who just stand there. Unless, well, it depends what type of music you're doing. But if you're doing aggressive music, at least put your back into it as such, like.
So that's why you get in people's faces.
Well, no, it's entertaining, isn't it? Like, rather than fucking like sitting there and just being laid back about it. If you're gonna mean what you say, essentially, is what I'm trying to cut across. Just give it some. Like, I want to be entertained when I watch another band. That's basically what I'm trying to achieve.
It also removes the barrier between band and audience. The fact that a quarter of the band is in the audience. People don't even
weight purposes,
don't even
the
see them
whole-
on stage.
Maybe half the band on weight purposes, but yeah.
Well, you don't like to spend time on stage either. That's the thing. It's probably a nerves thing too, isn't it?
Yeah,
like
there's
I think.
definitely an element there of being sort of like, okay, getting people's faces, make them feel involved. I don't like this sort of idea. We played at the Fleece not long ago, but I played a couple of times, and having a massive barrier in between just doesn't really suit it. It's supposed to be like a fucking free-for-all, not like sort of sitting back, go, we're the band, you're the audience type thing. Some people appreciate it, some people don't. Tough shit, really.
Well, you make us all feel like we're a part of it, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's the point. Trying to like sort of like say it's supposed to be a flowing thing. But the idea is anybody can do it. But if we start putting a barrier in between people, it makes it a little bit fucking standoffish for people. And I say some people are a bit uncomfortable with it, and if I notice they're uncomfortable, maybe I'll step back a little bit. But yeah, just try and enjoy it really.
I think the glint in your eye as you're doing it definitely helps, because you can see you're not being nasty and mean. You're just being like, hi, I'm here, and I'm going to scream in your face.
I think just like get involved, like.
When you do see Dean, I remember this is going way back. It's like, I think it was when Grant Collapse and Ephemeral Fetus went on tour,
Cardiff,
like Dean's old band. And we played a gig in Cardiff, and I was working in a shoe store at the time with some girls, and they were not into punk rock whatsoever. So we were playing a squat in Cardiff. And while Ephemeral Fetus are playing, Dean's doing his thing, getting in the crowd, getting in people's faces, and the girls I brought with me, they were like, oh, oh, what the fuck? He looks terrifying. I was like, nah, he's a sweetheart. Don't worry about it.
He's a crusty teddy bear.
Fucking funny, the looks on their faces when he just came right in.
Their last punk gig, was it?
Yeah, I don't think they ever wanted to come back ever again, but yeah.
I've heard us play, though.
That was pretty funny. I really enjoyed that. I did like seeing the horror in their faces. It was good, entertaining for me.
It's supposed to be entertaining, isn't it? It's not supposed to be entertaining rather than... I don't like the standoffish bit, the aloof bit. It's supposed to be like that, so come and go as you want sort of thing. If you don't like it, you'll leave. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to follow you out to try and shout in your face. If you don't like it, disappear.
And he won't touch you if you don't touch him.
Yeah. That's true.
Good consent there. Good consent. We like that.
No. Yeah, he's a quality band as well. Yeah,
good band.
When did you guys actually begin? Because I only became aware of you right around the time of COVID. That's when you began.
Yeah. So obviously me and you had been chatting for a while before, and Subhuman's gig, I was like beginning of 2020.
Yeah, just before COVID.
Yeah, it was like February 2020. We were at the show, Subhumans, talking about let's do something, and then obviously the world ended. Yeah. But then obviously Ian was sending like me bass riffs, just constantly, like a lot.
Constantly, still constantly.
Still.
Constantly.
Like the amount of stuff he's got in the bank is ridiculous. Like, I guess.
We won't try that
anytime
soon.
There's plenty to go, like, so. But yeah, was it like September 2020 we finally got in a room together maybe? Or was it a bit later?
It was a bit earlier than that because we did, it was basically the end of July, so initially you two were getting in conversation, you were getting in contact with me, goes, you know any guitarists?
Yeah.
And just throwing guitarist names and people forward throughout of it. And then it was a case of like, okay, like, do you want to have a go at vocals? Like, yeah, we could do the vocals type thing. Because obviously what he wanted to do was slightly different to what I've done before. And then it was like, we're trying to find a guitarist. Then we spoke to Payne, going, do you know any guitarists in South Wales? It was like, I'll take this one. I think this is meant for me. And then we did it already. I was already in 2 bands to start off with. And then it wasn't until like the July when everything got lifted and you can actually spend time with each other. We finally got into a room. We did like about 8 practices, then recorded like 13 tracks. And then it was what? Like,
then it got locked down again.
Then it got locked down again, so we released those through. And it wasn't until the following August we did our first gig in Bristol. No, first gig was Payne's wedding.
Yeah.
And then like
all 3 of his bands played.
Only because you can get more people
at
his
his
wedding
wedding
because you're performing. Yeah. And then like about 3 or 4 weeks later we played in Bristol. Supposed to be a quiet number just to sort of get on stage and get used to each other. And then what generally happened is that sold out. So we had to move upstairs, and it was about Then like a week later we played. That was South London. South London picnic. Yeah. And after that point, we just done gigs. But it's not like we do loads and loads of gigs. No, generally like a couple, 3 a month at the absolute max generally, and we might do a couple of like weekenders and that kind of thing. But it's not like we're playing every gig that's going. Yeah, it's just when it's there really.
But we started during COVID, and that's why you hadn't heard of us before then. And I think the shadow cast over everything by COVID probably had an influence on our sound as well, didn't it? Because we were kind of quite dark and nihilistic and we weren't the most optimistic band.
Even now.
But straight from the very beginning, I just finished with War Wound, which was really fast. Glenn was obviously still in Grand Collapse, which was really fast. Yeah. And that's kind of what we were talking about at the time. Should we do something that's slower, that's more rhythmic? You know, still powerful, but a lot more rhythmic and slower. And that was essentially the only thing we went into it with. We didn't sort of say let's sound like this or let's sound like that. It was just like let's be slower and a bit darker. See what happens.
And you got very catchy ones too. Very, very catchy songs.
I think that's the thing, man. It's like even between those sort of, even though they went out, we're trying to do this slower sort of element to it, the actual sound. Like we do one song that's really slow, next one will be medium pace, and we'll throw a fast one in there. Not really restricted by we want to sound like this, want to sound like that. It's more a case of bring a riff. What does it sound like? And like you basically like Payne is like an engine. He'll go turn around and go, I've got this riff, and he'll basically like, do you want to play like this? Do you want to play like this? Or do you want to play like this? And we go, we'll take that one this time.
Payne is the melodic guy, really.
Very much.
Because, you know, we start with a bass line and it ain't melodic, but when Painey does his thing over the top of it, he pulls the melodies out of it. Painey's the one that isn't here, by the way.
Yeah, essentially.
He's standing right here.
Give him a riff and he'll basically tell you he'll ask you how you want to play it, essentially, doesn't he? And like you say, there is that melodic element to it, but it's, hopefully I like try and come into it like sickly pretty. Like some of it's really nice, but it's still dark.
I guess it's whatever mood we're in.
Yeah.
Because it was like the one I was like, I really want to play something that sounds like Celtic Frost. And then he comes in with a riff and it's like, oh shit, that sounds like Celtic Frost. Just one section, but I was like, yeah, that's great. But it's, you throw everything in there and see what comes out.
And you really can't say, you know what, they sound way too much like so-and-so or so-and-so. There's so many different influences I've heard throughout. Because, well, Ian, you've been in, I can't remember how many bands.
And they're all different style bands as well. Like, so they don't like to repeat myself, really, because it just gets boring. So, you know, I think it's this is a different kind of band for all of us, I think.
Oh, definitely.
Definitely. It's like I've had to learn how to play slow on drums.
After Grand Collapse,
wheelhouse at all. So yeah, it's like, oh shit, this is a challenge again. So yeah, it's cool.
Borderline singing one of them, which was
that was
you
dirty. Hated that, right?
Yeah, it was dirty.
Borderline.
Yeah, well, no, I meant can't do it. Can't do it, but I gave it a blast. And that's fair to say. Like.
But it works. It somehow works.
Let you decide that one, right?
As a listener, I will say it works. Now, you've been touring a lot. You say you don't play that many gigs, but you've been on a lot of little tours. We were talking earlier about going to Europe. What's in store next?
A dozen UK gigs before the end of the year, I think. Can't remember where we're playing.
To be fair,
Derby, the northeast.
Yeah, we've got like basically the script goes. We've got like a couple in Wales coming up. We've got one in a couple in the Midlands. We've got a trek up to Liverpool before the end of the year.
Northeast.
And the northeast, and then like essentially after that, like the new year, we've only really got Birmingham booked with Subhumans and London. But like next summer, like Kilbite, who we went on a couple of gigs with, at the end of this May, we've organised a couple, one UK, one fucking Europe with those guys in May, June sort of time. But no real big plans. I think we confirmed a couple of festivals.
Yeah, festival in Finland and
just bits and pieces really.
UK festival and stuff like that. So we slotted in really. I mean, if we want to do the gig, that's the main thing. So are there bands playing that we would like to go and see? You know,
Always a bonus.
and and then can we kind of cover our costs? You know, it's not a deal breaker if we can't, but you know, we can't lose money hand over fist anymore, right? And then we've got to work around Paul's two other bands and Glenn's job. It's pretty restricted, isn't it? You know, getting time off and stuff like that. So we
can't
just
take
gotta,
everything. Yeah, we can't take everything that's offered, but if it's offered there, we'll try and make it work, and that's pretty much where we're going from now. That's pretty much where we are, really.
And we just had somebody jump in and dance backwards.
Recording wise, like we've got a couple of things in the works. So at the moment we're writing, I think we're trying to aim for 8. I think is what we're aiming for. I think we've got 5 in the works. They're nearly there. But the writing process is pretty quick, like we were saying earlier. He's got riffs coming out of his arse all the time.
It's crazy. It's probably the most prolific band I've ever been in 20 years.
That's what I was going to say. It seems like every time I turn around, you guys are releasing something. A split with somebody, your own release. It's like, oh my God, all this great new music. Well, I'm looking forward to this then.
Worse to learn, like.
Yeah, that's the thing. I can never remember any of the song titles either, because it's too much to remember. Yeah, I've never been good at that anyway. But yeah, we have to like write notes on my set list to indicate.
Like this.
Yeah.
Or even just something. It might not even be the song. It'd be the way it sort of feels, the way it sort of sounds. We'll take that. And that's what we're running with. That'd be the working title. Yeah. Or it would be a riff that sounds a little bit like that. It'd be like, I don't know, 20 seconds long.
Yeah.
But that's the one we go, okay, it's that song, it's that song, it's that song.
Yeah. So you look at our set list, it isn't all covers. But there's songs that says Killing Joke, Lard, things like that.
Just something.
It's just
something to resemble.
so you can remember.
Yeah, because I'm never going to remember it otherwise.
That makes sense, though. It's a good way to keep it in there without having to remember the exact song title.
The other thing with it is, I think it was when there was a review that said like, you can hear the influences while not actually sounding like them, or is I actually quite like that.
Yeah.
It was like, yeah, definitely you can hear lots of influences, then that's not to say they were a copy of something else. I'm just thirsty. But yeah, it's quite nice to sort of see everybody can recognise him, but it's not a carbon copy of what it was, that kind of stuff. So it's not like we're ripping off riffs as such, it's just like, oh, that sounds a little bit like them.
Yeah. And we've all been in so many bands over the years as well, so it's never going to be just one straight line. It's going to sound like
now,
this.
He's been about 30 before that as well.
Yeah.
Easily 30, I reckon.
The man's insane. Like, I'm probably, 20 years younger than him, and he's got way more energy for this shit than I am. Like, he's doing double duty today, and then going to Rebellion tomorrow to play again.
He's been there for 3 days already. He's there Wednesday, Thursday, Friday with social, comes over here, plays half an hour with social, plays half an hour of Raws, and goes back, and another half hour tomorrow.
He fucking loves it.
God.
I won't say that, but he does.
He fucking loves it. Yeah.
Just hearing it, I'm exhausted and I need a nap,
I'm always
you know.
good. That's my personality now.
Just tired.
Just tired.
Just tired.
Just very tired.
And then the only energy I have is that 30 minutes on stage, and I'm done again.
Yeah.
I think.
Get yourself up for that.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing, mate.
Exactly. Guys, I want to thank you so much for speaking with me. I cannot wait to see you again, finally, a second time. You need to play more up north for us.
Got a couple.
Yeah, we got Liverpool, we got South Shields.
No Manchester Day at this point. Like,
That's the bad part, yeah.
But we're doing 0161 next spring.
Yes, so we definitely will be seeing you at 0161.
Awesome.
Yes. Great. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah.